those big deals that you guys just did, since you guys had a lot of stories and you guys did obviously a lot of posting about it, so people who follow you guys probably want to hear about it. And then just ask you guys a little bit about kind of what's going on nowadays with your guys' business. You guys are still crushing it. A lot better than what a lot of people are doing. So, hear how you guys are doing and what your thoughts are. And
how many followers you guys got?
Couple. I mean, we get a couple thousand, like 4,000 or 5,000 views a week on our reels and stuff. But
That's cool.
our podcasts are more like in like a couple hundred range.
Cool.
But we're constantly getting new people. So I didn't pay attention to what it's at now. And you have to add up a couple of different spaces. We're not apparently as big as some people's podcasts here in town are. He's apparently.
Bro, there's a lot. You ain't doing as much as he is.
Who?
You gotta, Frank, the podcast I produce, Bring the Juice. They got beef. 2 podcasts I produce, they got beef.
We got beef.
He just pumps out a lot more content.
He just looks like a vegetarian, all right?
And he pumps out a lot of content.
And he pays a little better.
No, Daddy pays a little better.
Oh,
Clarify.
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter
Money's
if
money,
it's
bruh.
fake.
It don't matter whose purse it comes out of.
Cletus goes, I don't care where it's coming from. Huh?
You're my favorite to work with. And you pay on time.
I've heard that before.
I wonder if Frank's heard it before.
I was going to ask you guys, are you guys working with Maritza at all or no? Because she's working with Chris now, and I thought for a second.
No, well,
she listed a house with Chris, right?
well, yeah, but me and Jason sold her, and me and Aaron and Jason sold her that house.
Oh, yeah?
And the requirement was Chris got the list back when she was done flipping it.
Nice.
Gotcha.
They didn't want me to see the house because they knew I would want to flip it.
It looked a lot like
So you
Roosevelt.
didn't see it?
I never saw
Yeah,
it.
we bought that house for $100. We sold it to her for $160 10 days later.
It looked a lot like Roosevelt.
Yeah.
It looked like if you move the staircase and a couple little things, overall the layout looked very similar. And then you obviously added the master downstairs and reconfigured a whole bunch of stuff.
Right. Yeah, she that was just a requirement for us to sell her the deal.
Did Chris bring you the deal?
Yeah, Chris did.
Yeah. And that seems fair. Like, that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
Well, that has a story in itself because Chris brought the deal to me and Aaron, and we offered $100,000. Well, then that agent in his office took it to Jason, and told Jason, "Can you do 101?" And Chris came back. He says he went and gave it to another agent, another flipper in town. I said, "Who's the fucking flipper?" He goes, "Jason Pritchard." So I called Jason. I said, "Hey, Jason, kind of shitty. This agent brings it to Chris, tells us what's our offer. We offer, and then he goes to you and has you 1,000 up it."
Who is the agent?
What was his name?
Kyle?
Kyle. And Jason, I said, Jason goes, "Well, let's just fucking partner, bro." And I said, "All right, that sounds fair to me," because I was kind of, I wasn't upset with Jason because Jason didn't know that he shopped it. You know what I mean? And it'd be like somebody in your office bringing it to say, "Give me an offer and it's yours."
Yeah.
And then go in for $1,000 more. That dude was he ended up giving it to us for $100 because he felt like a dope fiend, like he did something stupid.
It was a dope fiend move.
Yeah, it was a dope fiend
not,
move. It
not
was
a good
dumb
move,
right? And he gave it to us for $100, and Chris got the list back.
There we go.
Kyle Peter?
Yeah, he ended up selling off because his dad passed away and he moved to the coast, I think, right? Wasn't that Kyle?
I have no idea.
I don't know. But
It's harder to keep up than keeping up with the Kardashians.
right.
I
And
keep
how
up with
Maritza
them.
do on it?
Well, it's on the market. She'll do fine.
Yeah.
Took her a long time. Then me and Aaron ended up coming in second position to loan her some money to help finish it. So we're in second position on it. But we hammered her,
Yeah.
loaned her 30, and gave her 60 days to have it on market, or the interest goes from $7,500 to $10,000. So she owes us 40 now instead of 30. So we got $10,000 for basically like a
Because it
night.
wasn't up in 60?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Well, decisions that should have been made in the very, very beginning stages
Weren't made.
And she's texting me, "Hey, what do you think I should do with this? And how do I do that?" I'm like, make a damn decision. Get this thing done and get it on the market. Like, nobody cares at this point. We want our money back.
And then Mark Navarro loaned her the money, hard money, and he was like, he did it because I said, listen, it's her first flip. We'll stay close to her, push her, and make sure she, there's such a big spread, she really can't fuck it off, right? So after a year, he's like, dude.
What's happening?
You sold this to
It's
her
been
a
over a
year
year?
ago.
Oh, yeah.
Over a year.
We sold it to her in April of last year. So
Why
almost-
did it take so
'cause
long?
They don't put things on schedule.
Yeah, they would be out working on other people's rehabs.
And then come back
it
for
was
that.
low priority, right? That's the same way we
Ass
did.
backwards,
we ended
dude.
up buying a house off her and her dad that they bought to do a flip
Where?
on Nevada.
In the Lowell district?
Because they had it for like 6 months. They were paying.
No.
Wait, how long?
Over a year.
Over a year they were paying. It was boarded up.
No shit.
So we ended up buying it cash.
The pigeons lived in there.
And then having them rehab it for us. And then what we did, we split the profit with them
There we go. Okay.
to be good people.
Yeah.
The profit was
Yeah, it was. We ended up with like $5,000 a piece, but it got it done, got it out of their hair,
yeah.
Yeah.
got it off the books.
Yeah.
Yeah. How have your guys' flips been doing in the market? It seems like you guys are still commanding really good prices.
Yeah, no, I mean, you put quality.
You guys do a good
kinda-
job, so I wouldn't be surprised if your pricing stays top tier.
Well, typically, I mean, right now, what you're seeing, as you know, agents are gonna fight for their buyers, right? Because the roles are flipping, right? But when they bark up the wrong tree, they just get told no, and I don't blame them for trying. But you're coming to the wrong property. You need to go down the street to that one that doesn't look as nice, and ask for these cash bags and this and that.
Yeah.
Roosevelt sold for $10,000 over list.
Yeah, that's what Butler was telling me.
Roosevelt's the highest sold in a 1 mile radius
Even with the
with
Wilson Island.
Wilson Island.
I just lost out on one. I was really sad about it. On Cambridge, it's you go up by Ampersand, and where that new park is, it's that very next street after the park. So it's Weldon, and then Cambridge. I had a one-on-one, bro. Hey, Jake, I got all of the waters already, but you are a dope man for that. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Jake.
I thought I handed you one. Now I grabbed 5.
Where?
Well, that one's yours now. I'll drink it when I find it. But I got a one-on-one with the seller. Seller was dragging me out, and I just said, dude, fuck it. Like, if you're going to drag me out, I'm not going to keep playing the game. Like, stop shopping my price. I gave you 3 days, then a 3-day extension on this offer. I'm not going another week. Like, make a decision. Called me back like 4 hours later. You want a decision? I'm out. I have a different offer. It's higher. Great. Let him go. And I'm like, it's still not in escrow. He still hasn't made a decision. I'm like, you're just kicking, your shit down the road. And when you eventually get serious about it, I'll buy it from you and we'll do the deal.
Right.
But the price will be less.
Right. I was at 153,000. ARV was 375, but it needed everything. And I want to do it how you guys do your flips. Do it the right way, not the cheap way. And that's because how he wanted it. He wanted it to be done, restored, and looking nice, not like some cheap guy came in and fixed it. So when he took that offer, I was like, well, you're going to get the guy who glues the laminate over your really nice hardwood that just needs a good cleanup, And they're going to come through and modernize it, and you're going to look back at the photos and go, for $5,000, I made a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Why
But-
is it bad to shop a deal? He's just trying to get.
It's not bad to shop a deal. But when you shop a deal, it's like you have an offer for 3 days, right?
Okay.
Your role as the seller is to shop the deal in that period. He asked for an extra 3 days, and I said, I'm so confident that I made a good offer and that you like me, that here's an extra 3 days. And then he asked for another week, and I'm like, dude, the market is going like this. I'm not going to ride this out for 3 weeks and then get committed to a price I'm not willing to pay. And a realtor brought it to me, so I didn't want to take that and then screw with her relationship.
Got it.
Can you close that door real quick, if you have a second?
Yep.
You can probably close it without hitting that tripod, right?
Nope.
Unfortunate. All right, we're gonna get started on this.
All right, let's roll. You ready, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
Do you need us any closer, or do we look good?
Yeah, the price.
That's awesome. We've never heard that before.
First time.
First, it's a first for everything. Huh?
She posted on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
You were posting this already?
No.
Your photo. I commented on it already. She is quick on Instagram.
I'm like, dang, that was fast.
She good. In the heat of battle, she don't miss.
This month, no yes.
All right, you want to do the introduction?
Just run the sound
Yeah.
check real quick, and then we'll get started. 30 seconds.
Sure. Ba, ba.
Almost perfectly on time, 6 o'clock.
It's all good.
Look at that.
You guys do a good job, so I wouldn't be. Hey, Jake, I got all the water dropping my price. I gave you 3 days, then a 3-day extension on this offer. I'm done.
You basically just repeated yourself, huh?
Roosevelt's the highest sold in.
It's always me talking, dude.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh my God, yes there is.
It's always him talking.
I put my foot in the mouth.
No, you've gotten a lot better.
Well, I'm like, hold on, it's my turn.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna call you out then. We're gonna be like, Aaron.
Don't,
Talk numbers. Let's go. Break
No.
down the deal for us right now.
I was gonna say, don't ask for numbers. I have no idea.
Yeah, don't set yourself up for her to go.
Yeah. Cletus, you want to take this?
Please.
Do you guys care about talking about numbers? Is that gonna bother
I
you?
don't care.
Okay. We don't feel like it's being. We think it's better to just talk about the numbers because then people actually understand what it takes. Because especially on these deals, you guys, to make them look the way you did, you guys put in some money. And unfortunately, I was dumb enough to show my fiance what you did on Santa Ana with that back door because I have 3 glass panels that are big width but are not a door. She goes, we should do it what your friends did on the house over in the Fig Garden area. And I was like, well, that was like $10,000 and I can't afford that. How much is it?
14.
Damn.
See, I was even being cheap on it and I couldn't afford it. I said, I've got $1,000 for a slider right there. That's what I can afford.
But if we were to do it again, I would probably do the stacking one.
Really?
And yeah,
Instead of, what, you guys had accordion?
it was the bifold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't afford any option.
None of the above.
Staying a glass window for now.
Even a slider that large is like $4,000.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a white one, 12 foot, $4,000.
Mm-hmm.
We just bought one for Townsend.
A black one,
White.
double.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, I don't get
Probably.
why the black ones are so much more expensive, like just the coloring.
Because of
Damn.
demand.
They're hot right now.
Buy a white one and can you paint it like acrylic or something?
No,
It'll peel.
It'll look like crap. Chip.
I like the black look too. I love the black look.
Yeah, I know.
And
It's,
like-
it's sexy and it's gives it that.
I
I
like
bet you guys really loved Roosevelt because it was black and green.
Uh-huh. No, and we walked into that bathroom and I sent a photo
Money.
to Kayla and I was like, this is pretty sick. And then, because she's been going to your guys', she went to a couple of the open houses and stuff, and she went to your guys' big party at Van Ness. That was really her first time seeing your guys' stuff. And then, since then, she kind of like follows your guys' Instagram page and just like watches out for design stuff.
We got a nice one coming in.
Townsend?
No. Townsend's already sold.
Ashurst,
Ashurst.
North Fresno.
3,000 square foot, 4.3.
Oh, with Butler, the 2-story?
Yeah.
With like with the mosaic you guys did like on that big wall. No, you guys have good shit.
That's me baller.
I got that as a pocket deal.
Yeah.
Butler called me on that one and I was like, yeah, that's can't go wrong there.
No, yeah. Vince Kennedy brought it to me. He brought us Santa Ana. He brought me
Pleasant.
Pleasant. He brought us.
Well, we're not on recording right now.
Oh.
Well, are we starting? Oh, are you waiting for us?
Recording. We're good.
Oh, okay.
Okay, when you guys ready, let's get.
I mean,
Let's go.
We can keep talking like this once we're on the podcast. So,
All right, welcome back to the Pursuit of Property podcast. We are so excited to have repeat guests Aaron and Cletus Shelton with EVC Homes back on the podcast. How are you guys doing?
Great.
living the dream, brother.
Dude,
Did you notice the glasses?
yes,
I did. I noticed that the
EVC
first second you
Homes.
sat in here.
Boom.
Styling.
Branding.
For those of you who are only
That's
on
a tax
audio,
write-off.
Oh, for those of you on audio only, she's got the EVC Home glasses frames etched in, looking amazing.
In orange.
In orange. I want to just throw it out there. You guys were some of our early podcast guests, and we appreciate you guys supporting us early on in the journey. And hopefully things are better now than they were the last time back in the signing room. But it's cool that you guys came back on.
No, thank you.
It's growth.
We're appreciative for the opportunity each time, even the first time and this time. I mean, we don't spend money on marketing and stuff, so these opportunities for us to give is as much as receive. So, it gets us out there and exposes us and continues to market our company and brand and name as well. So it's a good thing both ways.
Well, and you guys have built a really amazing reputation here in the Central Valley for just doing absolutely over-the-top, outstanding work on your guys' rehabs. Like, I don't think I've stepped into a flip that when you step in, like, it just feels luxury, even if it's not $1 million home, right? How long have you guys been flipping for here in town?
January 2014.
Wow.
It'll be 9 years this coming January.
Coming up on your 9th year. And you guys still to this day, you don't spend your full day finding your deals, working on your deals. You guys do this on top of your full-time jobs as well. So
Yes.
You somehow removed the major excuse a lot of people make about not getting started. Will you elaborate a little bit about like what you guys' current positions are and what you guys do now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Me?
Yeah, Aaron.
So we work for the same company. It's a nonprofit here in Fresno. I am a program manager over a homeless contract within Fresno and Madera. And I oversee or I help supervise other contracts. But all of it is dealing with the homeless population.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I'm the vice president for California operations for West Care, California, which is who Aaron works for. I've been with them 13 years and worked myself up from the ground up. So
Literally.
Yeah.
Client
so
to
being
VP.
a client to where I am today. So
And I'm the first lady.
yeah.
And there we go.
Actually, in 2007, Aaron picked me up at federal prison in Victorville and drove me all the way back to Fresno, and I had to check in as a client there the next day and do 90 days of residential treatment because I was sentenced
Wow.
after doing 6 months in federal prison for a violation. So, and that was in 2007, and then in 2009, I went back as an intern, decided to go to college and pursue a drug and alcohol degree in AS, and here we are.
That's kind of crazy. I always forget that portion of your guys' story, but when you guys came on last time, and if people are really interested, we went, I think, pretty in depth back on the last episode, but run that back. I mean, that's a lot to unpack. So you started flipping in 2014. 7 years prior, you got out of federal prison. So how did that all work out?
The year prior to that, we were homeless, living out of the car.
In 2006, we were homeless, on the run, living out of the car.
Bonnie and Clyde. So
I was the wheelman.
So talk to us. So you guys obviously you were dealing with stuff then, and I think again another excuse people will say like, oh my gosh, well my history defines me. So you guys got out of that position. You were homeless, in prison. You dealt with all that. Then you guys jumped immediately out into rehab, and then turned your lives around, and then came back to help. And now you help with a nonprofit full time. When you guys are clearly in a position with your business, you could walk away today, but you're still helping people.
Yeah, because from the beginning, when we made a decision to get into real estate investing, it wasn't about replacing our job. It was about a better retirement when we were ready to make that decision. 401k, Social Security, we already know what those look like. We have parents and people in our lives that we've had to help support that or are currently helping support to make ends meet because they're living off of Social Security and et cetera. So that was the whole purpose, right? That and enjoy something that we both enjoy doing. We love what we do. When you talk about when you walk in one of EVC's homes, it's because we pour our heart and soul into each and every one of them. We're passionate about it.
I've always wanted to be a designer, and this is the way I could live as a designer without going to schooling, because I have a natural, I mean, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but
No,
I do
you're
have a natural
100% right.
I have a natural talent for it. I mean, there's things that I learn every single flip. Like, oh, shoot, if we ever get this floor plan again, I'm going to do this different. So, I mean, there are some mistakes that we do make within our flips, but we learn from it. And the next time we have the opportunity to, you know, create something, we keep that in mind.
Yeah, I was even going to say, just, I know we can both attest to it. Talking to you guys, the feeling you get when you walk into one of EVC's homes, the passion you can feel is just overwhelming. Just talking to you guys, hearing you guys talk about your deals or show people through your houses that you guys are working on, it is really, really cool to see. And 2 deals that we wanted to kind of highlight and bring you guys on to talk about were, 1, your $1 million flip over on Van Ness, and 2, your Santa Ana flip. And we can kind of go in those that order and kind of just shoot the shit and talk about it that way. But let's start with the Van Ness flip.
Well, first off, let's correct some.
Yes.
They're both
Both
$1 million.
Oh,
flips.
both. Boom.
They both
there we
sold
go.
for 1.1.
Boom.
All right.
Love it.
All right.
So let's just jump right into it. If you haven't, by the way, if you have not followed EVC Homes on Instagram or Aaron and Cletus, either way, you should be following them because you get to see design inspiration every single day. So let me put that out there. But these homes have been projects for a while. So let's talk about, like Kate said, let's jump into Van Ness and hear kind of that story. It's a long one.
Ugliest piece of crap house ever.
On Christmas Tree Lane
Ugly.
in Old Fig.
One of Fresno's most, well-known streets,
Absolutely.
Van Ness.
Yeah, I mean, it actually, the people that even lived in Old Fig didn't even know there was a house there. That's how depopulated and overran with trees and bushes and just...
It was hidden behind the jungle.
Yes.
How did you guys even come across the deal in the first place?
It hit the MLS.
Chris told us, he went and looked at it, and he told us, you got to come see this house. He went to look at it. He walked through it. I was like, hey, did you take any pictures? He goes, no. He goes, my pictures suck anyway. And I was like, well, what do I know what I'm working with, So not till Jason Pritchard posted it on his story, I seen his story pop up, and I was like, oh, what is this? Oh, cool. So I watched his entire story. I was like, what the hell are we bidding on? Because this is awful. I mean, holes in the walls, the adobe's just crumbling, and I mean, it was disgusting in there.
The house itself was like, okay, the house wasn't scary at the end of the day. It was messed up, but we've seen 100 messed up houses, right? Flipping that house wasn't the problem for us. We already had experience flipping the house.
It was the area.
The area, it was the landscaping, the things that, a half acre of prominent landscaping, Van Ness, Christmas Tree Lane, the kind of, just like all eyes on me, corner of Ashland and Van Ness. Not dealing with, had never dealt with such a big landscaping project on a flip. So we didn't have numbers from experience on what that potentially could be or not be.
Right. Going
into the deal. We knew that there, at that time when we closed January of 2021, that the comp was $850, and it was right across the street.
So what was it listed for, and then what did you guys close on it for?
It was listed for
$500.
There was 20 offers, and how we got it, I'll tell you the secret to how we got it was, there was 20 offers, right? So I told Chris, call the agent, find out what the seller really needs, what's going to help them the most. And it was closing fast and allowing them to stay there for 45 days so they could figure out with the money for free too. We let them stay for free. Mm-hmm. Didn't charge them. Gave them 45 days after closing to move out. We did make them put 10 grand in a third-party custodian. Mm-hmm. So if they weren't out on the 45th day, just to keep everybody honest, right?
Yep.
Because at that point, I don't want you homesteading.
Right.
Right. So on the 45th day, you're out, or we keep your 10 grand and we'll just cross that walk, right?
By 8 o'clock on the 45th day.
Yeah, by 8 o'clock.
They needed one more hour. I was like, that's it. We're keeping the money. He goes, no, we're not. I'm like,
You know, yeah, she talks me from doing, you know, things, and I talk her sometimes into, you know, we got to remember, hey,
Yeah.
relax.
Right.
Sometimes she's pulling me like, calm down, you know. So, but at the end of the day, that's what got us, was knowing what they really needed besides the money, and being willing to do that for them, so they can make that next step, right?
That's a perfect example for a younger investor who maybe can't make a price work because their numbers are different. Having that know-how to ask for what's more important, you know, money, or, you know, what terms are going to help you out. It's a win-win for every party.
What's your number one thing on Keller Williams' board? Win-win, or the deal doesn't happen, right? And everything we do, it's about win-win. Or
that's what we've been taught since we first got into investing. That's still what we preach to sellers on appointments, everything.
It's truly
it's gotta
is.
be
If
a
we
win-win.
can't figure out to where you're winning and we're winning, and it's a mutual relationship and an agreement, then what are we talking for? You know, unless we're just going to try to talk to figure out how we can get to that piece. But without that, there's nothing.
So you guys close in April of 21?
No, we closed January of 21.
Or January of 21. Okay.
They got out.
And they got
out 45 days later, so it was like the end of March, I think, 1st of April.
we walked it with the contractor, Maritza, in February.
Yeah, we walked
or first part of March. That's when,
Okay.
and we were, you know, painting, like,
Yeah.
let's get rid of this, let's do this, let's cancel this, you know. They
Yeah.
were completely out by March,
Yeah,
beginning of March.
Yeah,
Okay.
beginning of March they were out, and then we walked it and did the layout and stuff. Aaron did the design, layout, and floor plan
Yeah.
within the walls, because it was Adobe, right? So
Right,
we really
right.
couldn't, unless we blew out and kind of. But it was already 2,850 square feet. I mean, the only thing it didn't have going for it was, you know, probably the living area.
Yeah.
You know, there's not much you could do with that. But within those four walls, I think Aaron nailed it. We were able to create a phenomenal master suite that is, you know, people would die for. We were able to create a kitchen that was open to the living room concept, which wasn't, you know, since the house was built.
Yeah.
Just the finishes and the design, like the floating shelves in the kitchen and stuff, like Fresno hadn't really
Yeah.
seen that yet, right? And black cabinets and,
Yeah.
you know, the smooth finish, modern touches. And
Well, I mean, it sounds like, Aaron, you spent a lot of time really thinking through your designs. I mean, obviously it's a team effort here, but I mean, how did you guys even come up with the concept of how you were going to move forward? You knew from the start it's going to be a really high-end finish home. What was even like that first step if you knew that it was like going to be Adobe and like all eyes on me and we got to really figure this thing out?
well, it freaked her out. It freaked her out.
It did.
Freaked me out. I think I did a post about it. Why we were in the middle of it is that, you know, I had to get out of my own head, because she started overthinking the designs and second guessing, wanting to change things and this and that. And it's like, finally, I think it was Jen and Jason that we met with and kind of brought her back to, like, quit overthinking it, Aaron. You know what you're doing. You know, don't worry about what Old Fig thinks or anybody else thinks. Do Aaron and be Aaron, because what you've done and have always done has proven positive results, right? So, and it was me getting psyched out over the landscaping and the numbers, knowing that we had an 850 comp. And I just said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm pushing the chips in. I'm going all in. I don't give a fuck what that comp is. We're going to do what we're going to do. And when we're done, we're going to see where we're at. It was ballsy. It was risky. Probably not the smartest thing to do, but did it anyways.
Yeah, and I did tell him, I was like, you know, this is Christmas Tree Lane. Every single house is different from the next one. We can really push the envelope here. That was early on when I wasn't too freaked out, and then I got in my head, and then I was like, oh my God, what are we doing? I'm freaked out now.
Yeah, we kind of talked to each other. There was a lot of nights, dude, honestly, going through it, because we were so used to our flips being 3-4 months, you know, in and out, kind of no matter what the problem was, we dealt with it, even if it was a stop work order, go pull your permits out of whatever. That just, a lot of stress and anxiety just brought on by our own internal pieces because of such a big lot of, pushing the chips all in.
Yeah.
We're in this, we can't stop,
Was that the first project of that
Yes.
magnitude
Oh, yeah.
you guys had taken on? Well, I mean, of course. I mean, you're going in there. I'd be scared.
Well, prior to that,
shitless.
it's like our first house in Old Fig was our first $500,000 house like a year and a half before that.
Yeah.
And $500,000 back then in 2019 was like a big deal in Fresno. $1 million house in Fresno back in 2019 was like there was very few, right? Mm-hmm. Not a whole lot.
Not
like you see
nearly as
today,
Yeah.
right? $1 million today is different. And when we bought this, it was non-existent $1 million house on Old Fig and on
Yeah.
Christmas Tree Lane. I mean, like I said, the highest comp was $850.
$850.
Well, and as somebody who's getting married pretty soon here, I'll say, holy crap. Like, you guys already probably have enough with your full-time jobs, and you guys have everything else going on in your life, because this wasn't your only project,
Oh,
and it was a
no.
long period of time.
Yeah.
Like,
I think we did 20 other flips during that probably year and a half that we had Van Ness. We flipped Kyle Stanley's house and that house
Yeah.
uh-huh.
in Trenton, which was a big project, ended up being like 200 and something thousand in rehab. I mean, and then Santa Ana down the street, which will, segue into
Yeah.
another over $1 million house, like less than a quarter mile.
Yeah.
How
One house off the
often
center.
was this project coming up in your evening conversations?
All day, every day, bro.
All day, every day.
For a year and a half.
Clarify,
And then
you had it
everybody
for a
asks
year
you,
and a
how's
half.
Van Ness going? How's this going? How's Van Ness? How's Van Ness? Where are you guys at?
So, funny story. I was sitting on the couch and I'm thinking, and the master closet of Van Ness was a bedroom.
Oh, yeah, it's
Right.
a freak out moment.
I did. I was like, oh my God. Like, I jumped up and he's like, what is wrong? And I'm like, we don't need 5 bedrooms. We need a badass closet, bathroom, master suite. And he's like, okay. So we immediately started texting Chris, like, what value is a 5th bedroom going to bring? What value is a master suite going to bring?
A
He's
bomb
like,
master suite.
yeah, he
Yeah.
goes master suite all day long. I was like,
100%.
okay. So we went there, big pile of dirt, big hole in the ground, because there was already an existing bathroom. It was just a very long, narrow bathroom. So we ate into some of the master suite or the bedroom. We like maybe 3.5 feet to make a bigger bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe a foot into that existing bedroom.
Right.
And that was the bathroom. And then, I mean, sleepless nights, I'm just like sitting there on Pinterest, like, how do I design this bathroom? We were sitting there and I was trying to draw it out on the wall. And I'm like, you guys, I need a little bit more time and not all eyes on me, because this is a lot of pressure right here. So I went home and I started looking. I seen a bathroom. I was like, that's it. We could do exactly this in that space. And I have like a free app that
Magic plan.
yeah, Magic Plan. I eventually bought, the paid version, but I just drew it out. I knew what the measurements were. I just drew it out on that. And then Maritza gave it to her plumber. She printed it out for him. He was using that exact plan. I found it sitting there, like dirty fingerprints all over. I was like, oh my God, he's actually using my plans that I created.
On the free app.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you. I mean, you don't have to have the craziest tools if you have the good talent, right? If you are creative, there's definitely a way to make it work. And as somebody who walked through it, I wish my master suite looked like that. I think you're 100% right. And if you ever had those moments of doubt, why did I tear out a 5th bedroom? The way that you laid out the master suite, in my opinion, was probably one of the big selling points of that interior of that house. Because you walked in, gorgeous vaulted ceiling, huge bathroom, the walk-in closet with all the storage and everything. It was done to the nines.
Thank you.
To the nines.
Thank you.
Yeah. Side note, I know we're talking a lot about it, and you mentioned it earlier. Go to EVC Homes Instagram, search up Aaron, search up Cletus. Go find all of the videos, the photos of this place, because this place is freaking killer.
What was the address, too? You could look it up.
4190
North Van Ness.
North Van Ness.
So let's talk about the outside. We talked a lot about the inside. Definitely you guys you blew it out of the park. But part of the scope of this project that blew me away was when we came over, we didn't have any landscaping done, and you showed us all the chalk and here's where this is all going to lay out. The next time we saw it was at the giant party,
Right.
and it was a completely different property. So what was that like?
Actually, you know, it felt good. It was a sense of accomplishment, right? To finally bring the whole thing to a final resting spot. And it all come together to where it flowed from the moment you just drove by the property or pulled up to the property, and just, you know, to be able to have the teams, you know, like Premierscape, Matt, him and his team, you know, they crushed it. They helped us with the design. We did what do they call it, remnants, early on.
Rendering.
Early on what we thought we wanted, and we about 85% kept that rendering. Had to do some tweaking to be able to get, you know, down to real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was...
we had to tweak because the county sicked their attorney on us.
Yeah.
What?
If everybody doesn't know that, I got a phone call as the tree company's there demoing all the trees on the property, which was like 50 trees. We didn't know when we bought this property that from the center of Van Ness, 60 feet to the right and 60 feet to the left at Van Ness and Ashland on Van Ness belongs to the county. It's called the right-of-way.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't in the prelim, wasn't in disclosures.
On Ashland,
it's the center of the road, 30 feet both ways.
Yeah.
Okay. Got a phone call from the tree guy when they were demoing all the trees. He goes, "Hey, Cletus, there's this pine tree leaning on the corner of Ashland and Van Ness. It doesn't look safe. What do you want me to do?" I said, "It don't look safe." He said, "No." And I said, "Well, then cut it." I didn't know that tree wasn't on our property. I didn't know that tree belonged to Fresno County, and that tree was donated by a very prominent board of supervisor who was now in Congress. And the whole community was in an uproar because within an hour, 2 hours after that tree being cut,
shut it
the
down.
whole old fig went wild. People coming down there, "You can't cut these trees," yelling and screaming. Chris calls me, "You gotta get down here, bro." We got a lot of tension, and long story short, they put a stop work order. Fresno County did, and then like a week later, I got certified mail that from Fresno County attorney that they were going after us for damaging their property, Fresno's County. I didn't lawyer her up. I just met with the lawyer, and he kept insisting that, "Hey, do you sure you don't want a lawyer?" I said, "No, absolutely not." I said, "I'm not here to do but one thing, is
Just make it right.
how do I move forward?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I apologize. He goes, because his first question when he answered, I got on the phone, he goes, "Are you from Fresno?" I said, "No, but my wife was born and raised
So throw
here."
me under the bus.
I almost said no, but I got busted in Fresno just because who I am and the way I talk openly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I like, no, but my wife is born and raised here, right? And he goes, "Well, because do you know what Christmas Tree Lane?" I said, "Listen, bro, yes. We just didn't come in there and just say, fuck Christmas Tree Lane, cut this tree down, don't give a fuck." That's not the case. So if you're thinking we're some out-of-town investor and we don't know what the Christmas Tree Lane is, yes, we know. Did we know that tree didn't belong to us on our property? No. It was an innocent mistake. I've been trying to ask the road development county department for 3 weeks on how do I fix this, and nobody would talk to me. So until I get a letter from you, and now here we are at the table, you're wanting to resolve this, but, you know, with being an attorney, right?
Right.
I said, I don't need to lawyer up unless I get down the road with you and I feel like you're trying to do something that isn't fair or right, doesn't feel good, then I may exercise that right later. But right now, I just want to move forward, and I want to apologize, you know? Take the humble route. That's the truth.
And it's good. You're supposed to own up to it when
Yeah.
you make a mistake. And you guys aren't like malicious people.
Exactly.
And you guys care about the community. Look at your
Exactly.
freaking jobs, you know?
Exactly. And that's why I told him. I said, we work for a nonprofit. We're local investors, brother. I said, it was an innocent mistake. And, you know, me and Aaron, after that, we came to an agreement with Fresno County, got it in writing, $50,000 in a lot of planting 2 new Christmas trees, all kinds of trees down Ashland, and then also not only that, the grading, and then ADA walkways from down Van Ness and Ashland, and
we lost 5 or 6 months.
And not only that, we had to run irrigation to everything for the rest of the for as long as that house is owned by anybody. So it's even when we sold it, they had to sign. They understand they got to water these trees and stuff, and but then like a month later, me and Aaron got a call from one of our friends that live in Old Fig, and he says, "Hey, your address, Van Ness, is on the agenda on Old Fig monthly meeting. They have their own
HOA.
Yeah, meeting."
Mm-hmm.
So he goes, "I'm gonna send you the link. You guys can sign in, so you can see what they're gonna say or what's going on." So we did. We sat there, and they knew somebody they didn't know that was normally present, and they said, "Well, there seems to be somebody on here that we don't know." And so that at that moment, I just told them who we are. I'm Cletus and my wife, Erin Shelton. We're the owners of the house on Van Ness, and just broke it down to them, basically what I told you, how innocent it was, how we didn't know that wasn't our property, and that we're already in negotiations with Fresno County and are going to make it right, and it's going to be more than what we did at the end of the day. And for that, we apologize. It's not like we just came in and wanted to shit on Christmas Tree Lane, right?
Right.
And I said, just bear with us. When we're done at this, it's going to be way better than it ever has been.
You guys were adding value to the neighborhood too.
Right.
You had a shithole house and you turned it around. You sold it for a ton of money. Let's talk about that. But it seems a little crazy. I get people being frustrated, but I'm glad that you guys handled it with grace and it all got resolved. And
I think the right thing's the right thing, right?
Right.
Honesty, openness, willingness,
open and honest
communication. Those things. It's just that's the only way we got to go, right? I had to take my beatings, verbally here and there, and those things. Yeah, and it's like, but I get it. Some people are very passionate about certain things in particular.
Yeah. And then you guys listed the home. Obviously, the market's been interesting since you guys sold it, but even before, things were starting to shake up when you guys were working on getting it in escrow and wrapped up. Any crazy stories during that? I really don't know anything.
Well, let's talk about the party.
The party was
Yes.
legit.
The party almost didn't happen.
Really?
Because of weather.
The weather. It
Oh, yeah.
poured like an hour before the party was supposed to start. We had everybody, all hands on deck. The tent company sent a guy, and he's trying to knock water off of the tent. I mean, because the tents were caving in. It just was a torrential downpour.
And you're not talking about cheap tents.
No.
Right.
And then, the party planner, she brought the stylist, she brought all of her stuff. It looked beautiful. And then this downpour, she left to go get ready to come back. She came back and she's like, "What the fuck happened?" I was like, "Oh my God, we're going to fix it. Just, give us like a half an hour. We're going to fix it." And I mean, our guy, he's spraying off all the rugs and making sure all the topsoil's back in the flower beds. I mean, it was a hot mess, but it turned out beautiful.
Cade and I went as guests. We both brought our significant others, and we had no clue. I mean, we showed up. The house looked gorgeous. There was drinks and food and tons of people.
Oh, yeah.
Tons of
at
people.
least 300 people.
Tons.
And everybody who walked through, I don't think I heard any negative comments the whole night about any design choices, anything. And you guys were asking everybody about what our thoughts were. And I mean, it was our first time, Caden's Mind, seeing it with all the landscaping. And I mean, it was a completely turned around place. And we would have had no clue.
We were proud that day, to be able to open it up to the community and for the neighbors and everybody to come and actually see the inside and see every inch of the property. And what was great to see is a lot of the neighbors come by and thanked us that night, and ate and had some wine and beer or whatever, and had a cigar, and it was just I felt like a true community again at peace, right? So that alone, even if we hadn't have made any money, was enough for us.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Just to know that the community is uplifted and they're at peace again, and we were able to work through that with them and come out the other side whole, right?
Yeah, with a freaking gorgeous, beautiful house right there on the corner,
right?
For the community too. So let's talk a little bit of numbers before we head into Santa Ana. Okay. So holding period for this was about.
So it was from January till what we closed in July of this year. So we're talking about 16 months. But the way I structured it up front was no interest, private money person, 50-50 split on the back end. He funds all purchase, all rehab costs. And if we make 50 cents, we split it. If we make 50,000, we split it. Okay. So there was no holding interest, compounding and building up. I wasn't going to go into this with all those unknowns and this with an interest payment. So I needed I tapped the right private money person we have, and was willing to get behind us and let's go. Because we borrowed a lot of money from them. So it's like
right. You have a reputation if you've been doing it since 2014.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So that made it much better because then we could just keep track of our rehab costs. We already know what we paid, and we knew that So when we got to the end of it, we were like 985 all in.
See, I do know numbers.
See, I know. Come on now.
So you bought it for $5.
I bought it for $5, but I ended up getting a $25,000 price reduction right before closing because I asked for $50. Right, like 2 weeks before we were closed, and they came back and gave us $25, so we got it for $475.
So you put in as much as you paid for it. You put in $400 plus
More.
$1,000,
Yeah.
$500 plus $1,000.
Right. Well, it came out to it was like $505, I think, with $475, $505.
Wow.
And that's a rehab holding, as far as PG.
No. Yes, everything.
Everything, all in.
All in.
And, when we listed it at 1.299. We were swinging for the fence because it was brand new and it was the only thing that's new that was out there. And it's like, so there was no...
One of a kind.
Yeah, one of a kind. So, and we just had to... You can always come down, you can't go up, right?
And we were coming out of the craziest market in the history of real estate markets.
We had packed showings. We had a lot of activity. I just think that, honestly, I don't know. It didn't work out to be able to get that high of a sell price. I think if we had held out, we may have been able to get better. But being that we'd already been in it for 16 months, 15 months or whatever, to get it on the market, and then used to having our houses get locked up day one, and this being over $1 million house, and the data prior to this house hitting, in the last 2 years there was only 4 houses that had sold over $1 million in Old Fig, and the average, because we ran the data was like the fastest was
42 days.
Wow.
And the longest was like 120 some days.
So were you
out of those
prepared
40s.
for that?
Yeah, that's
mentally?
Then we had a way to kind of look at what to expect, right, based off the data history. So, when we got 60, 90 days into it, and that's when I was like, okay, let's drop it 100. And then we had the lady that ended up buying it. She came
so many times.
Yeah, she was all in, and so what we ended up doing, Chris, we took him out of the deal to be able to make this work. 1.1, no realtor commissions. So being able to sell her this house, but this is what we were able to do for Chris through this deal, is that she owned another house in Old Fig. So Chris got to list her house. We locked it up contingent on the sale of her house if Chris lists the house.
Mm-hmm.
She was trying to FSBO it, and the offer was contingent on the sale of her house. She could buy the property without the sale of her house, but it was still, she had that contingency. And he said, if it hasn't sold in 10 days,
to get
then you need to give it to Chris and let him list it.
So she decided after day 2 to give it to Chris. And like day 6, Chris had it in
offer.
So Chris ended up getting that listing and then we also gave Chris $20,000 when we closed.
Yeah.
So
took care of him.
Yeah. So we gave Chris 20. We had 80 left. A private money person got 40. We got 40. So.
And you guys learned a shit ton.
Oh yeah.
And you guys also had tons of content.
Remember what I said
earlier?
earlier?
Did everything.
The comp was $850 across the street, and we sold it at 1.1. And nobody lost. Tons of experience. We drive by there forever for the rest of our lives and know that we did that.
You guys did that.
You know?
And
I think it's badass.
I said earlier how we learn, I learned design mistakes that I've made. Well, we went to dinner with Chris the other night, and he's like, yeah, it would have been really cool to turn that wine room, instead of a wine room, make that the laundry room. And then you could have made the dining room a little bit bigger. And I was like, where were you a year ago? Why didn't you say any of this?
Well, hindsight's a motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
Well, when you have 18 months to think about it.
I was like, man, why didn't I think of that?
Well, and let's jump into the next one, which you guys definitely blew everybody's socks off on, was Santa Ana. For those who don't know, Santa Ana is right next to Van Ness,
Yep.
also Christmas
One
Tree
house
Lane.
off, yep.
And we went and visited it, and you guys have been posting a ton about the Van Ness deal. I didn't even realize that you had an equally amazing house just down the street you were working on at the same
We
time.
closed Santa Ana 2 months after we closed Van Ness when we bought it in 2021. We bought it in March, and we bought it for $400,000.
And talk us through that deal.
Well, that deal was
Best kitchen ever.
For sure.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Hands
told
down.
Aaron when we were
Hands
there
down.
meeting with the contractor and stuff, I said, you can do whatever you want within the walls of the house. And within like 15 minutes later, she was like,
I just looked at Maritza. I was like, can we just entertain something real quick? She goes, you want to move the wall out? I was like, yes. I go, how much extra is that? 20 grand. Let's do it.
So you blew the wall out in the kitchen. And for anybody who hasn't seen it, what's the address?
621 East Santa Ana.
So if you're looking at the photos online, you're going to see that the kitchen is giant and it's super
Two
usable.
10-foot islands. I mean, just a commercial fridge.
Baller.
Yeah, straight baller.
And it
Wall
looks-
of pantry.
2 dishwashers, 48-inch cook stove.
Looks
I mean,
into
just-
the awesome living room with the giant slider, all views out to the nice backyard.
Yeah.
And it had the breezeway, and we decided to close that in and make that like another junior suite.
Dude.
So when I got Vince brought me that as a pocket listing because, like I said, we don't market. You know, it's all relationships. How we get all of our deals every day.
Right.
People bring them to us, wholesalers, agents, people. You know, whatever.
Right.
So Vince brought this to us, and I was gonna lock it up, but we had never done a deal with Jason, so I just called him up and I said, "Listen, I got this deal. It's one house off Van Ness. It's a killer deal. You want to partner? You know, you bring the money. We got the deal. We'll rehab it. You stay out the way. If we need something, we'll holler." He goes, "Let's do it." You know, so we brought Jason and Jen in on it. And then we were there, and Aaron wanted to push the house out. So I was like, "Okay, Maritza, before I call Jason, because he's in bed with us, 25, 30 grand, is that what the extra is going to be, to push this all out?" So Jason agreed it's 100% that, we'd be stupid not to support Aaron's idea and expand the square footage and add an additional bathroom and a mother-in-law suite out of it. So that's what we did. The crazy thing is with COVID and, we had submitted the drawings and stuff, it took 5 months to get the plans approved. And then
Wow.
it triggered Title 24 where they wanted, because we expanded the house over 250 square feet, it triggered Title 24 where we had to put fire sprinkler system in it and, all these special conditions.
Yeah. Henry was just telling me how expensive that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's 12 grand, right? Basically 10 to 12 grand on a 2,000 square foot house, and depending on how big. But I mean, it's just that, and it's just extra steps and more permits and more pieces. But Fresno County to approve the plans took 5 months. So from March to when we submitted plans, I think in May, it was June, July, August, September, October. It was the end of October before we got the green light to go.
Wow. And talk us through that. I mean, you guys did an amazing job on both homes. Obviously, we saw a lot about Van Ness, but when you walk into Santa Ana, just like Van Ness, you walk in and like what Cade was saying, like you can tell,
Right.
This is not a normal flip.
No.
This is a remodeled home. You guys remodeled it, almost describe it. You guys remodel your homes as if you were going to live in them.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that shows.
Because that's one of the exit strategies. If they don't sell, we'll buy it.
There you go.
Oh yeah, we were gonna, if we wouldn't have been able to sell Van Ness or whatever, we would have moved in it.
He would have moved in it. I would have moved into Santa Ana.
Santa Ana.
I really liked Santa Ana.
Yeah.
I thought that both
did
were
too.
really awesome.
The reason I liked Van Ness because of the driveway and just that
Yeah.
Yep.
setback and that
Yeah.
piece to me, I felt like I was the big dog on the block, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, the
Well,
gates
it
swing
is.
open. It's like, what is that old show? Pimp This House or whatever, the one where it's like
MTV Cribs?
MTV Cribs. That's what I felt
There we
like.
go.
Sitting out there blowing my Black and Mild, drinking my Monsters, just looking and being proud
On
of
the
it.
front porch.
On the front
Kicking
porch.
your feet up.
I mean, you got congressmen jogging by and their housewives and stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm out of pocket, right?
Yeah, I think
That's
I
not big.
saw Jim what's his name?
Patterson?
No, Costa. Jim Costa ride by on his bike. I was like,
Hey.
hi.
You just I
It's a
don't
cool
know.
spot.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. And driving down Christmas Tree Lane with all the trees, it gives you a certain feeling, right?
Yeah.
And
They definitely know our cars in Old Fig.
yeah, we lived there for the last year and a half with
Yeah.
both those projects, and a lot of people respect us now.
That's
that's
good.
Like, that's our fifth house. Those two, after those two, that was our fifth we've done in Old Fig.
Yeah.
And now they bring them to us from Old Fig, certain people, because agents that
want it
live
done
there
right
because
now.
they don't want just anybody flipping it.
Yeah.
Because they want the value, they want the goodness there, right?
Talk us through. I mean, Santa Ana had its own problems. It sounds like the construction phase got delayed with the
And then
with
the
remodeling.
appraisal issue.
Let's talk about the appraisal because I heard it from a different angle.
Yeah.
But I want to hear what the real life story is.
Well,
and
the
it's
real life story is that
important.
we hit the market at 1.1, and the very first day by 10 o'clock that night we had a full price offer, which is
Boom.
record setting for Old Fig for over $1 million, right?
It's a lot different than 42 days, right? Sitting on the market
Yeah.
before getting,
So there was like, okay, so then we were like,
We're
okay,
gonna-
let's stall these people because if someone's paying 1.1 and that quick, we got to at least stall them because that was like on a Tuesday. So no, it was Wednesday, but we stalled them till Saturday morning just to give some other foot traffic through and to see what shook out.
Yeah.
And Saturday we accepted that offer.
But, I mean, realistically, at that price point, people are slower to respond. They're very picky. They want to go out and look at the property multiple times before they make that decision. It was better to just accept that offer.
I think the moment they walked in the door at Santa Ana, it was instantly became something emotional because they just fell in love with it, and they just blew past the rational part of their brain.
Well,
right?
Victoria Butler's parents went there, and her mom, she's like, literally took my breath. I was like, wow. Usually babies do that, but I mean, wow, a house?
No, I mean, so my experience with people at that price point is they'll pull the trigger quickly, but only for the perfect house, right? And so it sounds like you guys did a really good job of designing somebody's perfect house,
Right.
And not to say anybody else probably didn't like it, but to say that person pulling the trigger on day one,
It just met all their boxes.
I mean, they walked in and they said, I'm willing to spend this kind of money because this house is perfect.
Right.
And it was really, really, there was nothing left to do.
Yeah, no, there wasn't.
It was a
Every inch
perfect
of
house.
half-acre lot, beautiful.
There was something left to do.
Uh-oh.
We drove back by a few months later. It was like last month we drove by, and there was 3 redwoods in the corner of the yard that, I mean, they needed to go. I mean, they needed to go bad because they were very old. They were, limbs kept falling down. They weren't maintained well. They chopped them down.
Yeah.
Oh, they did. They ended up chopping them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long? So you guys, you had that 5-month, 6-month delay until October. How much longer did the rehab take until you guys were
It
done
was the
in
end of
escrow
October,
closed?
So November, December, January, February, March, April. It took us 6 months.
Okay, 6 months
Yeah,
to
we
close.
hit the mark. Well, we hit the market. I think was May 1st, 2nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much comparing? You guys have bought this for $400. You bought Van Ness for $475. You dumped in more than you bought on Van Ness. How much did you guys end up being all in for on Santa Ana?
I think it was like 880,
Okay.
890,
Okay. So
And
and then loan costs. Probably, I don't know, might have been right at 9.
So let's jump in then.
Mm-hmm.
What happened with the appraisal?
Well, the appraisal was
You know what happened with the appraisal.
What happened was an individual showed up who was the appraiser that absolutely hates flippers, 100%, and wasn't quiet about it. Because the minute he hit the property and met Chris, he's like, well, how much did they pay for this door? How much did they pay for this? How much? They over-rehabbed this place. This house is not worth this. You know, he's just talking trash. And which is sad because if he had just done his job and not took things to a personal level, he would have been able to come out with reality and what the value is of that place. He said, another stupid thing he said is that this is one of the most undesirable streets in Old Fig. It's in between Wishon and Van Ness, the houses. Wishon and Van Ness are the most prominent streets, and it's north, as close north to Shaw as you can get. The closer you get to Shaw on Van Ness or Wishon,
gets even better.
Gets even better from Ashland or Shields, etc. Right? So you're far north to Shaw as you can get, and you're in between Van Ness and Wishon, one house either way. Mm-hmm. There's $2.5 million houses being built across the street. Beautiful houses.
How is it undesirable?
How is that an undesirable street? So he just was finding everything that he personally wanted to throw in there to drive down the value. So he brought the appraisal in at $745,000.
Holy.
You want to talk about your heart drop?
When you guys are into it for $150,000 more than what the appraisal's coming in at, like,
yeah, we just lost 100. I mean, and the deal's done. We can't. I mean, you know what I mean. So
yeah,
but that it's so unrealistic. It's like, okay, that's crazy.
Yeah,
if you would have came in at 950 or $1 million, you know, then we would have been like, you know what?
And he didn't even rate it right. He rated it as moderately fixed up.
You've got to be kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Van Ness being it was down the street. Van Ness was a comp, but Van Ness wasn't pending yet. Van Ness was pending. It was pending.
Oh, so it
was pending. So he used that as a comp, but he gave Van Ness a higher quality. Little did he know that it's the people and the same people did the same work.
Exact.
And he gave us the lowest quality on Santa Ana, but the pending comp, because he didn't know it was ours, he gave it the highest rating and gave us a $150,000 deduction because of the difference in quality.
You've got to be kidding me.
It's the same quality.
What? Okay.
If not better.
Can I hear what went through your guys' heads as a group, you three, including Jason and Jen, or four? What was the general consensus when that came?
Well, that it's so far off that it's ridiculous. We know it's not real. So our next move is going to, here's the options. Either they move the loan and we get a different lender, so we can get another appraisal, or we just cancel escrow and we put it back on the market.
You'll get way better than 740 on the market.
I'm moving in. I'm not
going to drop 150K to lose a beautiful home.
No, and it's stupid, bro. I know the value of that place, right?
100%.
100%. And we knew the buyer knew the value of the home because they were willing to pay
to do it
all day, and they're qualified. So we ended up rebuting the appraisal. He came back. He raised it 100,000, 105 to 850, which was still stupid.
Yep.
He had the square footage wrong. He was this and that. He was still beating it. He just didn't want. He was done, right? He didn't even want to do that. But so we moved the loan after that because we had to go through that process before we could say, you know what, we got to have a legitimate reason to move this, right? So they moved the file and another lender took over, and we got it. So I made phone calls to people that I've known and been in this business for 30 years.
Who was the first phone call?
Mark Navarro.
Who's the second?
Who was it?
I don't know. We always call Brad.
Oh, Brad Hardy. Yeah, Brad. You know, people with experience and to share and you know, because it's a small world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you have something to say about this appraiser here in a few, on your experience on what he shared with you at a whole nother property that he didn't even know that you knew me and Jason and Aaron, right? Isn't that right?
Yeah, I'll jump into it.
Okay.
Let me clarify, too. I didn't know who he was talking about during this conversation. he had said this house on Van Ness, and he had ran his mouth. I've known you guys for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
I have literally never walked into one of your projects and thought, this is a shithole.
Right.
I have always walked in and gone, wow, this is a lot nicer than anybody else does. And I've always walked in and been impressed. And I'm not even tooting your own horn. This is how out of pocket his comments were. That I left the appointment after he had been at a separate appraisal. He had no business talking about his other deals.
Right.
Like, let me clarify, if you're not familiar with real estate, appraisers are not supposed to talk about their deals. Their whole purpose is to find value as a uninvolved third party.
Yep.
That's it. He came over to my client's house, was rambling his mouth about this shithole that people are trying to get 1.1 million for. And he rubbed it in that he had gotten this other piece of property, and this is where I think it all came together. He claimed he had gotten this other property of similar size and scope and value for $750, and that there's no fucking way that this house is worth 1.1. And he bragged that he brought it in like whatever it was, 300,000+ under, and was like, they're gonna learn about how to flip a house today, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And it made my blood boil, not knowing anything about who the person was. I just knew this guy brought in a deal hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands under. And so what did I do? On the behest of my client, I called the lender and I said, the appraiser that just walked our house was bragging about bringing in this appraisal hundreds of thousands low. I would like to have him looked into. Just to check into him. Both lenders for the same company, Fresno and Madera's office, both had him on like a do not use list, but he was still somehow getting scheduled because the way that appraisers work, you can't pick, obviously, the exact appraiser. Well, regardless, I went to Jay's house, a month later maybe. Mm-hmm. Jason's talking, and in the corner of the conversation, I hear, like, he's talking with Benny about something. I hear, yeah, this guy brought in my appraisal 300-something thousand low. And it all clicked, and I was like, no fucking way, it's Santa Ana. Talk with Jason. Turns out, there it was.
I got chills.
It was the same guy that I had reported, and I went through my broker and everything. I mean, I got like serious about reporting this guy. I went through broker, I went online, and I went through both of the managers at the lending company because I was like, this is so fucked.
That's wrong.
And what made it so fucked was that he was like, it was all ego. He was just trying to fucking flex that he had gotten this other deal, and he never referenced why it was worth so much less. And then it was like he was bragging about it to me. Little did he know that you're in the smallest big city in Fresno, and that fucking everybody knows everybody.
Absolutely.
And I turned out later, I told Jason that I had reported him, and Jason gave me a big old like high five. He was like, fuck that guy. That was ridiculous. Thank you. And I was like, I didn't even do it as a favor. Like, this was just because it was wrong. It was just wrong.
Right.
There was so many conference calls with Jason. We're like, are you sitting down?
It was, it was just,
this
was
is
ridiculous.
not going to be a good
Him and
conversation.
Jen were driving to San Francisco when we got the initial appraisal.
Yeah.
And me and Aaron were on the call with him. We said, are you sitting down? He goes, I'm driving. Do I need to pull over? I said, well, you might.
Hold on tight to the steering wheel.
Yeah. And I said, the appraisal just came back on Santa Ana. And he goes, yeah. And I said, and it came in at $745,000. He goes, what? Literally, he was fucking going to drive off a cliff. You know what I mean? Like,
if you know Jason, that is so in character, too.
Yeah.
Well, and like, overall, part of why I want to bring up Santa Ana is because people right now are going to be experiencing this much more often. I wanted to hear you guys, obviously, because yours was definitely a malicious, egotistical decision. You guys handled it pretty well. Like, how did that conversation overall with the buyer and the agents and all that? I mean, was everybody on board?
Oh, yeah. Here's the reality, bro. Right's right, wrong's wrong. And, just telling obviously I'm not in the buyer's shoes, but I can tell you that, come on, 745. They wanted the house. Let's move it over here. Let's get an unbiased second opinion from a second appraiser. And if it comes back, we'll just talk about that results, right?
So what did it come back at?
1.1. Full value.
Boom.
No problems. When the appraiser showed up, she already said before she walked in, she goes, I already did pre-work on this, and I honestly, I don't see this being a problem.
Yeah.
So 1.1.
It was done so well for that to get to come in 300,000 plus.
Santa
under.
Ana, just so you know, ended up being I think it was like 2,450 square feet. So it was like $433 a square foot when it sold.
Yeah.
For
That
Fresno.
is awesome.
Yeah,
So
it's an expensive
It actually
neighborhood
was
with
higher
a really
square
well
footage
done.
than Van Ness
Then
and
Van
Ash,
Ness.
because Van Ness was 2,850 square feet at 1.1. So
Damn.
Funny story about Santa Ana. Right when it was wrapping up, we were almost done with it. A lady was walking by and the landscaping wasn't done yet. And she's looking and, you know, I'm standing outside and looking at it, you know, admiring it. And she's like, oh, this is such a beautiful house. I'm like, oh, thank you. And she's like, oh, are you the owner? And I said, yeah, me and my husband, we're flipping it. And she's like, oh. And she goes, yeah, I was always curious about this house. And I go, would you like to go in and look? She goes, yes. So she cornered me in like the little mud area in the back. And she was talking to us about, you know, flipping and all this stuff. And he said, yeah, we have another one down the street on Van Ness. And she goes, did you hear what those people did on the corner of Van Ness and Ashland? And they cut down all those trees. And I said, ma'am, that was us. And we are very sorry, but
awkward.
yeah, I said all of those trees were diseased. They were falling over on our
And you
contractors.
replaced them.
And I said, you know, none of them could have been salvaged. It was better off for the community. They were being held up by, you know, metal rods. And I mean, as Maritz's team was working, branches were literally breaking and falling down, like not little branches, huge branches. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so glad nobody was standing under that when that fell.
Yeah, there was
Because
ponds and everything there. You know.
it was so bad. It was so
That's
bad.
hilarious.
And she said, well, thank you for bringing up the value of our neighborhood. I was like, absolutely. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, don't shit on us next time.
Yeah. So spread the word that we're doing good.
Yeah.
You know, it just took time and consistency and doing the right thing to turn all that around, and even the conversations. Because once we had Van Ness party, like it was different because everybody in Old Fig came.
Yeah.
And
There were so
really-
many neighbors that came.
And then they knew at that point that we had already met our you know, with the Fresno County agreement, that we did everything we promised we would do. And, you know, because, I mean, if not, they were going to come after us financially.
So what two freaking baller, badass, amazing flips over there within a quarter mile of each other, both selling for 1.1 million within what? When did they both close?
Same month.
Same month. In the same freaking month. A year and a half in the making for both of them, and getting those things closed and across the finish line the same month.
Yeah, we ended up splitting, I think it was like 140 some thousand net profit off of Santa Ana.
There we go.
Jason got 72, we got 72.
Yeah.
Another win-win.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Win-wins
You know,
across
at
the
end
board.
at the end of the day, brother, 70, you know, that's a lot of money, $150,000 net on a deal in Fresno, you know, for regardless if it takes you 4 months or a year.
Yeah.
Right.
The sun goes up and down. I mean, it doesn't matter. We still walked away in a beautiful portfolio of something we did and proud of it.
And you were still doing other deals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We always have like 5 or 6 usually going in some phase or another.
Yeah. As we wrap up, talk about what you guys have going on right now. We had those 2 big deals close out, obviously, earlier this year.
Yeah.
What are you guys working on now? What's on the horizon for you guys?
Well, we just closed a couple days ago. Another big one that's on for Van Ness Extension and Bullard on Kavanaugh.
Ooh, there we
Dude.
go.
Yeah,
I know where that's
it's
at.
a modern style house. It's gonna be beautiful. We bought it for $499. Looking to have it done in Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
We bought that by ourselves. It's been a while. We've been partnering with Butler and his wife, teaching them the ropes. We've done, I don't know, 5 or 6 or maybe 7 different levels and different style of rehabs with them to teach them. Right now, currently, we have 3 in escrow to be sold.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 under construction. One is going to list at $850. One's going to list at one's already sold. Basically, as soon as it's done, Townsend sold it to Butler's mother-in-law's and father-in-law.
There we go.
Sold it off market. And then we have what's the other one we're working on? We got Ashurst, Townsend, and then Lafayette with Jason.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, we brought another deal, and I called Jason. When the deal got brought to me, guy messaged me in Messenger. So I was gonna lock it up. I got it for $162. It's a 3.2 with a pool in 05.
Mm-hmm.
And they're giving us all the brand new windows for the place because this guy in Vegas bought it, was gonna flip it, and then kind of got like scared or whatever, but just wanted to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
So I called Jason. I said, "Listen, let's partner, but let's flip the roles. I'm bringing the money. I'm bringing the deal. You're doing the rehab."
There we go. That's kind of cool.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we get to just sit over here and
hang out.
Yeah, hang out. If you need something, let us know. Because Morgan's great.
Oh, she's awesome.
It's so funny. She hit me up. Hey, Aaron, do you have any design styles that you want to? I don't care. That's my design. I really don't care about this one.
Yeah.
I trust you completely. You're going to do a great job. Just do your thing.
Again, it's about win-wins, right?
Real quick, I hate to interrupt, but if I just lost a second deal to Jason in a month, I'm gonna be heated. Is it this house right here?
Yep.
Wait.
It's Lafayette with 3.6.
6'5" or something.
No.
Oh.
We're next door.
Next door.
Oh, right next door.
Oh
Right
my
next
God!
door.
Right next door.
Okay.
But yes,
Don't
please,
steal that one, please.
Please get that one. That one needs
trying.
to be
That's
flipped.
tweakers.
This has been 2 years of follow up, and Jason just closed a deal from me. He didn't buy it from me, clarify, but I had made an offer to a buyer or to a seller who I'd been following up with for 2 years. She called Jason off of a postcard because I said, "Go get other offers. Do it. Like, it doesn't hurt me. I'm your friend now. This has been 2 years of helping you. Go do it." Jason closed her over the phone. And I was like, when I called her, she goes, "I just closed with this really nice guy, Jason." And I said, "This is my freaking mentor." I was like, "He still got it." But that's awesome. Don't steal the one next door, please.
No. But please.
Why don't you
Please.
just call Jason, tell him to close it, and you guys will up.
Just tell him to close it over the phone. 50-50 done.
50-50.
I'm literally-
have him run the rehab. And
There you
bring the
go.
money.
Legit, though, it needs to be, because there's straight up tweakers.
I've sold 4 or 5 houses, and the house that I found that you're appraiser on for Santa Ana was in that neighborhood. So that ties all back into the Santa Ana thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I heard
Wow.
Lafayette, and I almost cried. Almost cried. You saw me pull out my phone, and you were like,
I was like, I thought your fiance was texting an emergency. I was
No,
like, I see
no.
the worry on your face, like, oh shit.
I probably turned red.
But no, that house that we have next door had a skate park in the backyard.
I'd seen it. I looked on
Yeah.
Google Street View because I was doing research, and that house also had fire in it, no? Or is that 2 doors down? That whole neighborhood's
Two
got some
doors
problems.
down.
That whole
whole neighborhood needs to
Because
be
BlackRock,
flipped.
Yes.
or BlackRock owns that one with fire damage.
Oh, really?
Or what's the hedge fund?
BlackRock.
Yeah, BlackRock.
Yeah.
They bought it.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are crushing. What are your guys' thoughts? We're gonna wrap this up this way. What are your guys' thoughts coming into the end of the year? You guys are big mindset people. I know that. You guys also are absolutely crushing it right now. What are your thoughts?
We're just consistent, brother. We've been doing this for almost 9 years, and when we started this in 2014, the market's getting back to where it was then. It's 3 to 4 months of inventory, 5, 6 months. Those type of months of inventory is kind of a normal market. We've already been in a normal market. It's been fun and wild, but we're just going to consistently continue to do what we do. We approaching the numbers on the buy side is we're already planning for recession, sales cost back, people wanting these things, because now it's the buyer's market, right? So we're just going to plan when we buy on the front end anything moving forward on the low end first time home buyer stuff. Anything that's above $500,000 to $800,000 in resale, that's a different animal, different buyer. As long as our comps are solid, like they're not going to time out by the time we get the job done. Mm-hmm. We know we'll get the value and we'll get a little more. So, it's just being experienced and done enough of it, and being consistent what you do. We're not going to change our model. We're just going to be smart about what we take. And when we take it now, moving forward, it's going to be deeper dive on the front end to be able to cover those unknowns 4 or 5, 6 months from now. And we've already changed that like 45 days ago. I told Chris, before you even give me the ARV, take that 15%, chop it off, and then give me the ARV. I don't even want to know about it.
Right.
Because that's going to cover all that other shit, right?
Yep.
And that way, if the deal works with this ARV with that already cut and I don't even think about it, then we're safe, right? So
No additional
we
thoughts?
really want to, it's rentals.
Yeah.
Rentals. We would really want to, in the next 16 months, is really add to our rental portfolio.
In California?
Yeah, Fresno. I want them locally.
Yeah.
Cletus decided our retirement plan because I'm always hot, even in the winter. Like, I roll the windows down, driving to work. I'm sitting there sweating. He goes, I decided when we retire, we're going to the beach. I'm like, I love it.
Yeah, we're going to sell off everything and just cash out, in 15
Constant
years.
70-degree weather. I love it. I'm all for it.
We're going to start looking for the house now, though.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye out then.
Yeah, Morro Bay, Pismo.
Area?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Where can people find you guys on social media?
Well, for me, it's Cletus Shelton on Facebook. It's Cleat Dog on Instagram, and then at EVC Homes for Aaron manages that
TikTok.
Instagram.
Boom.
TikTok
There we
for
go.
Cletus and Aaron.
Yeah.
And then Aaron's Shelton on Facebook.
I mean, if you want to see pictures of dogs, then you could follow me on social media on Facebook. But EVC Homes, Instagram, it's all about houses.
We don't have somebody doing our posts for us. Everything's organic and intimate and hands-on and real. It's from me or from her, and it's open book of who we are in our life and our lifestyle, and we're always trying to help somebody, right? Because you know what, we didn't get here today without lots of people helping us and continuing to help us.
Yeah.
Every day there's people that help us. Like Brad and Jason, we help each other. You guys helping us by inviting us to come in here and talk, right? That's a promotion for us.
Doing the reels of our properties. I mean, that helps us out tremendously.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just tagging each other and, supporting each other and always having each other's back, right? We're all trying to basically do the same thing, and we're not in competition with each other.
Right.
At all.
No, and I don't think we feel that way either. I mean, we bring you guys on knowing darn well that somebody might have a deal that they feel better fits with your guys' work. And I kind of want to wrap it up on that, knowing that you guys have been a backbone to our community, and we really appreciate you guys coming on, and you guys have shared a lot. And I think there's people that listen to this podcast who aspire to do the level of work you guys do. And I think, it's a good way to keep your guys' face and name in front of them. And hopefully you guys will have people reach out.
That's what I say. Don't chase the money. Chase the vision. Okay? The money will follow.
And then, getting into this early on, we decided very early, like when we first started to do this, like if we cannot do this the right way, we're not doing it at all. So we didn't want to, cut any corners. We remember that whole experience, first time home buyer, how it felt walking into our brand new home, that the emotions that we felt, that's what we wanted to give to other people.
And, there's first time home buyers that can't afford to go buy the new builds, and to be able to give them that opportunity in the lower end home prices and buy it right and do it right and give that brand new feeling where it's new HVAC, new hot water heater, new flooring, new cabinets, new seats,
new wiring, everything.
In the older neighborhoods where they can't afford to buy, is priceless. So
I don't think there's any better way we can end it than that, you guys. Thank you guys for being pillars in our community, in the investment community. Scott and I appreciate you guys more than you know, and we loved having you guys come on for the second time. And all of you guys out there listening, make sure to go back, listen to their first episode, listen to this episode, connect with EVC Homes on social media. They've got a lot of good stuff coming up, and they continue. they will continue to have really good stuff coming up. So thank you guys again for coming on. We appreciate you guys. All of you guys out there listening and watching, we will see you next week on the Pursuit of Property podcast.
Boom.
Okay, you want to see what we got coming up? We have pictures.
Yes.
I got to go make a couple quick phone calls and smoke.
I
And
was
we'll crack
about
the
to
door open.
cry if you guys had bought Lafayette after she just told me that, no, I'm not selling it right now. I'm going to hold off. And I'm going to call her now and be like, all right, look, motherfucker, if you get a call from this guy, Jason, all right? Just call me. Just give me a chance.
Please give me a
I'm like,
fighting chance.
He's taught me everything I know. Let me make Dad proud.
Give me a chance.
So this is Bryant and Fort Washington.
Yeah.
Straight 80s house. It already had nice windows, but there we go with the... I know.
I need you to come look at my house. I know you won't do stuff for other people on staging and stuff.